College football 26 is just 2 weeks away, and it's time for the most important decision of the year, figuring out what team I'm running with for Dynasty Mode. I have to give a huge shout out to C4, one of his most recent videos. He pointed out this website called teamcrafters.net, where I'm not sure how they did this, but somehow they've already gotten the actual ratings that for the teams in college football 26. This isn't from the beta. This is like, I guess, from the actual whatever build of the game is currently around right now. So it's been kind of super helpful for me to narrow down kind of this list down to kind of the 5 teams that I'm kind of thinking about for Dynasty Mode in college football 26. Before we get into it, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to hit the subscribe button, all that other good stuff. So what is my criteria, almost messed that up, for picking a Dynasty team? It's simple, but I think it's going to be really crucial, I think, to having a fun Dynasty series this year. Can't be higher than a 72 overall. I want this Dynasty to be a bit of a grind, no shortcuts. I want a challenge that takes multiple seasons just to be competitive in our own conference. And with the new changes coming to coaching archetypes, like the recruiter abilities basically getting nerfed. The whole recruiter archetype has just been completely nerfed. It's going to be tough. Now to unlock Elite Recruiter, it's going to take 2 top 5 recruiting classes. And granted, by the time you already do that, you're probably already going to have a winning program, right? So I don't feel like that's as powerful as it was. Also, I believe, I might point this out a little bit later, but a lot of the best abilities in Recruiter are now in Elite Recruiter. So it doesn't necessarily even feel like it's worth it to go after that coaching archetype anymore, except till maybe when you're later in Dynasty. But I feel like starting out, this is just not a worthwhile one until you get those 2 top 5 classes, if I'm being 100% honest. So number 2 on this, can't be in the MAC. Nothing against some good old MACtion. I do like the MAC, but I ran a Western Michigan Dynasty last year, so this time we're going to shake things up a little bit. So now let's get into the teams that are in the running for my college football 26 Dynasty. Number 1 on this is going to be the Charlotte 49ers. According to Team Crafters, Charlotte is ranked 120th overall, and looking at the roster, most of their best players are seniors. So I think this might be one of the rare cases where, you know, I think year 2 is going to be probably tougher than year 1. You're going to be scrambling, I think, to replace talent that leaves, and you're going to have to develop your young players fast. Honestly, I love that. I think anything that kind of extends the grind of Dynasty Mode, I think that's a good thing. I feel like last year, it was pretty easy to get a jump on things. If you went the recruiter route for your coach, it was easy to kind of get a jump and kind of become, you know, really good that second year, because you could really get a jump and recruit, you know, players that weren't in your range. So I think they've kind of redone recruiting, so I guess it'd be tougher for you to just go up there and just immediately get, you know, higher end 3- and 4-star prospects to your school. So that's why Charlotte ends up on this list. Also, there's a lot of in-state challenges with Charlotte, and even in the region as well. So number 2 on this list is going to be the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Look, I may pick Coastal just so I can finally go throughout my life pronouncing Chanticleer correctly. But seriously, Coastal has a lot going for it. I think, first of all, the uniforms are really good. They have a lot of really nice uniforms. I think there's that color, that almost kind of teal and black. It's just a really nice look. They have a lot of different options for their uniforms. I know that it sounds weird, but if I'm going to be rolling with a team in Dynasty for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus seasons, variety matters. That was one of the issues I had with that Sam Houston Dynasty last year before we got a file corruption issue, is that the jersey combos were terrible. It's like home and away and like a spare helmet. That's kind of what Sam Houston has. So not a lot of options for Sam Houston. Coastal Carolina, a little bit different. The downside, recruiting, it's going to be brutal. You know, going back to the Charlotte 49ers, they have to compete with UNC, Duke, NC State, Wake Forest, ECU, App State. That's all in-state for the Charlotte 49ers in North Carolina. And probably because we're in the Carolinas, there's going to be some crossover here too as well. So, again, that's going to make recruiting tough. Coastal, you know, just in-state alone, it's Clemson and South Carolina. Those are two big-time programs breathing down their necks. Both programs are kind of fighting for scraps in their own respective states and their own conferences. So I think that will be something that will really make this a bit of a struggle. Also, Coastal will come in ranked the 131st team. So yeah, the struggle for this dynasty. So the Marshall Thundering Herd come in at number 3 here. Marshall is ranked 133rd. Even worse than the first two, but unlike Charlotte and Coastal, the few good players they have aren't senior. So there's some young talent to build around. In terms of recruiting battling in state, it's mostly it is just West Virginia, but you step outside the borders a little bit here in this kind of area, you're going to have to deal with Virginia, Virginia Tech, probably a little bit of Pitt too, and even Penn State, kind of, in that area right there, and even some of these Carolina SEC schools we're going to have to deal with kind of in this area. So again, I think that's going to be really difficult. And again, because of the way they've redone these coach archetypes, specifically recruiter, I think it is going to be a little bit tougher. I really do hope that they've retuned recruiting a little bit. There's not a slider for recruiting this year. There's no way you can go in there and kind of make recruiting tougher or easier for yourself or anything like that. But it does seem like you're going to get hit with the transfer portal a little bit more. Like the way they talked about it is you are going to lose players to the transfer portal in this year's game. It was pretty easy to deal with the transfer portal in last year's game. It felt like you just really didn't have that many players transfer. It sounds like that's going to be different this year. So there's a very good chance this is something that we're going to be dealing with, where we're just going to lose maybe huge swaths of the team. And that can make things very difficult to replace, especially with the change to recruiters. It's not going to be as easy to replace those players. So that's why Marshall comes in at 4. And also, I do like their uniforms. That nice green looks really nice. They have some really nice uniforms when we played them last year as well in a couple of my series. So that's why Marshall's going to be there. And so let's get into the next team. Number 4 on this list is going to be the Texas State Bobcats. The Bobcats are interesting, not because they're like a good team or anything like that. They're ranked 115th overall, but because in 2026, Texas State is moving to the Pac-12, I believe, which is technically going to be the 8th team, their 8th football member. I believe technically it's the Pac-9, because I think Gonzaga is in, but they're only in basketball because Gonzaga doesn't have a football program. But all this is a little bit confusing. That's right, a Texas school in the Pac-12 in a conference with Oregon State, Washington State, and San Diego State. The Pac-12, the Pacific Conference, makes total sense, right? But seriously, I think this could be a fun little wrinkle for a dynasty. Regionality is basically dead in college sports. I mean, if it wasn't already before, it definitely is now. I mean, you have Cal and Stanford are in the ACC, the Atlantic Coastal Conference. Texas State is in the Pac-12, the Pacific Conference, the Pacific Athletic Conference. Again, complete chaos in college football now. The roster side, it's a decent roster, I would say. It's nothing to write home about, as you hear me typing. Going on to Team Crafters real quick. But again, it's just one of these things where, I feel like you're looking for teams that, for your dynasty, they don't want them to be too good. Again, like I mentioned before, this is a team that is ranked 115th. You look through their actual ratings, 71 overall for their offense, 70 overall for defense. So respectively, offense ranks 105 in terms of all the teams in the game. Defense ranks 103rd. Then special teams is 128. I'm not sure how they actually judge the special teams. It's not like I don't really know how that's like calculated or anything like that. I'm not sure how special teams, maybe it's like your kickers or something like that. I don't 100% know how they did that, but either way, Texas State on here, and we are now going to move on to our final school here for what could be our dynasty team in college football 26. And the final school is not necessarily a school yet at all, because it is going to be a team builder school. Of course, there's always the wild card. Why run with a real school that has a bunch of history, its own baggage, its own expectations, when I could cook up my own program from scratch? My own logos, my own jerseys, a roster that's as terrible as I want it to be, because with an upgraded team builder in College Football 26, you can actually do a lot of things here. You can change your players this time. This is I believe this is one of the biggest issues with team builder in College Football 25 is you couldn't go in there in the actual team builder and change the ratings of any of the players, change their names. Everyone had the same names for all the players. It was really annoying. This year, we can go in here and do that and change it all up. This is a very tempting idea. I've already got a couple concepts in my mind for some team builders that I didn't actually do last year. A couple ideas that just kind of left over, because it's kind of fun to just go on that team builder site and just put together teams. It's just a fun thing to do. So that's where I'm at right now. This could totally change before release day. 100% could change before release day, but I feel pretty locked in on these options right now. Just like last year, I will be putting up a poll. It's non-binding. It's not like 100% whatever the poll is, that's what we're going with. But I do want to take the temperature from you guys again. Who are you feeling? Who do you think I should go with? What would be fun for you guys to watch? Because I feel like we got a little too good quickly in a lot of our dynasties last year, and I'm hoping not to kind of repeat that. Again, I don't want to be completely frustrated where it's just like, man, we're just getting blown out every week. I mean, that's not going to be fun to watch necessarily all the time, but I do want that pace of growth to kind of be there this year, and hopefully we can actually do that. So make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. College Football 26 content is about to, I think, blow up here. We're a few weeks away from the game. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.